Hello and welcome to today's SGIA webinar, Inefficiency by Default, Why Sticking with the Status Quo is Stalling Progress for the World's Print Shops. My name is Dan Marks. I'm SGIA's Director of Content Development, and I'll be the moderator for today's program. On behalf of SGIA, I'd like to welcome you and let you know that our webinar system allows you to ask questions through your computer. So if you have questions during the presentation, feel free to submit them at any time. We'll get to them at the end of the formal presentation. Before we start, I would like to introduce today's speaker, Simon Landau. He is Director of Sales America at PrintFactory. He has been in the graphic arts industry for 30 years. His transition to print came when he made the move to a well-known London graphics supplies company. From there, he joined a large format print distributor and later a Harlequin RIP developer and supplier, where he became an inkjet RIP color specialist. It was then he went to one of the UK's largest inkjet resellers, where he focused on high-end color management. Joining GMG Color UK was the next natural step, providing advanced color management systems to the traditional photo retouch, agency, and flexo, gravure, and litho printing markets, as well as for large format printing companies. He joined PrintFactory's holding company, Orlan, when CEO Eric Strick made the decision to move forward as an independent brand and grow the potential for cloud-based platforms. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Simon Landau. Welcome, Simon.
Thank you, Dan. And welcome all to today's webinar. As Dan said, my name is Simon Landau, and I'll be presenting Inefficiency by Default, Why Sticking with the Status Quo is Stalling Progress for the World's Print Shops. Today we'll seek to expose the two often overlooked contributing factors that affect workflow and cause bottlenecks in production, which inevitably leads to inefficiencies and loss of profit. We will also provide recommendations on how to overcome these problems to provide a smoother and much more efficient production workflow. Today's webinar will be suitable for all the positions listed, and there will be questions and answers at the end, so please take notes on any questions you have that may pop up. As someone with a small amount of experience in the industry, it has been my pleasure to visit many production facilities all over the world and in all areas of digital and analog print, with the last 10 years specific to the wide format digital printing sector, including industrial textile, ceramic, and digital decor. Those experiences have given me an insight into the issues faced by many in terms of production bottlenecks, waste, and general inefficiencies in the job-to-print workflow that hold a company's growth, and sometimes even worse. That is why I'm very excited to be passing over my old responsibilities in Europe, Middle East, and Africa to an old GMG Color colleague of mine, and I will now be starting our new PrintFactory based here in the US in the coming months. Okay, here are the topics we'll be covering in today's webinar. First, how an over-reliance on default solutions, often provided with a new printer purchase and not generally considered, is stalling the progress for profitable wide format print production. Second, the key considerations that need to be made to allow for an efficient, optimized workflow, including color management. Third, the role ICC color management currently plays in compounding the complexities that lead to inefficient and loss-making production. And thus, fourth, why effective color management is the keystone to a lean and automated production process. And finally, the technologies available for setting a new status quo for the whole wide format industry. First, we'll start with a bit of context by looking into what makes up a traditional production workflow. Generally, up to 55% of the production time is spent getting the color right and the job print ready, i.e. troubleshooting. If time taken to achieve these two processes could be slashed, PSPs, or print service providers, have the potential to deliver double the amount of output with the same amount of resource. It's clear to see here there's a big opportunity to make improvements, but more often than not, this is accepted to be the typical normal cycle, the default if you like. In a typical workflow cycle, the greatest bottleneck for production managers and operators is often the troubleshooting process itself, ensuring that the color output is up to standard and that the job is print ready. Believe it or not, I've seen some PSPs that print 3 versions of the client's scaled file in 10% darker saturation steps and on the actual production printer and the chosen output media, just so the client can pick the one they prefer. Not an efficient use of prepress time, media, or ink, I would suggest. During these make-ready cycles, color experts are generally needed to fix color to match the expected results, as of course with the additional cycles too. There is a belief that this cost is a cost that PSPs just have to bear the brunt of, and there's no way around it. This is simply not the case at all. What if additional factors were contributing to workflow bottlenecks, ones that are also often overlooked, but could be easily resolved? So, what are these factors, and how are they stalling inefficient workflows? To find out, we invited print shops to share their experiences and frustrations in a short survey to create a clearer picture of the biggest blockers to productivity and profitability. The survey results revealed an over-reliance on default solutions, which could in fact be exacerbating problems with color and creating bottlenecks when getting a job print ready. In our survey, we found that color management is the most significant workflow bottleneck for 21% of PSPs, stalling production and damaging the bottom line. 31% said their greatest challenge is achieving color consistency across different substrates, and for 29%, accurate color reproduction in general. For 22%, the greatest challenge is consistency across printers, as well as ones using the same device model, ink, and media. When it comes to getting print ready, it's clear that print operators mainly struggle with achieving consistency across both substrates and devices, together with hitting color targets or spots, another key challenge. It's not difficult to understand why print operators struggle with consistency, as so many factors contribute to achieving absolute color accuracy from computer screen to substrate. Different printers with different profiles and gamuts can cause complications when reproducing jobs across those machines. The unique properties of different substrates, for example, variable media white points and coatings can have a significant impact on color profile creation and accuracy, as well as environmental factors such as lighting conditions, metamerism, humidity, degrading print heads, and much more. If you struggle with metamerism in particular, or even saying it, or just want to know what it is, please keep an eye out on the PrintFactory website for our soon-to-be-released blog on the subject. 60% of PSPs rely on the RIP software that came with their printer. This historic default mindset could well be the key contributor to the production inconsistencies and inefficiencies suffered generally in the industry. The default solution provided may not be the best solution for your company's workflow, expectations, or indeed growth plans. Color issues can arise from the fact that a print shop's RIP software is often dictated by products purchased, a supplier's own preference, or what deals tech providers have struck with OEMs. This is rather than PSPs generally looking at the software as an integral and important part of deploying a system that suits their current workflow setup and maximizes their efficiency and profits. 63% of PSPs are running 2 or more RIPs in their shop. This is a result of generally taking the RIP that is bundled with each new printer purchase, which leads to PSPs needing to calibrate a number of different systems in order to even attempt to achieve a consistent color and sometimes quality of output. This mix of different RIP solutions compounds color issues with the use of different input profile selection and even the use of canned ICC profiles, which will often unintentionally be creating major bottlenecks and waste in the production process. Relying on numerous RIPs can require operators to switch between terminals to send jobs to different devices. Not only does this waste time, it can also create color inconsistencies, especially when reproducing the job across a network of printers manufactured by a wide variety of different OEMs. When there is a problem, the majority of PSPs said they would not hesitate to make an investment to solve production issues. Most are receptive to the idea of changing software, employing additional staff, or even buying a new printer. In reality, problem solving is only possible when you know the source of the workflow issue. Committing to significant investment may solve problems in the short term, But long-term inefficiencies caused by inconsistencies across multiple RIPs or workflows means profiling, color conversions, and reproduction issues will always remain. Resolving color management issues and eliminating bottlenecks isn't about staying ahead of the curve with the latest printer technologies, but rather it's about having the foresight to question the norm and maximizing the efficiency and productivity of your existing investment. Now we've identified some of the lesser known contributors to production workflow bottlenecks, let's take a look at how we can resolve these issues. The majority of PSPs run their RIP software from a PC, 3% from a Mac, and the remainder as server client from both OS platforms. The gap between Mac and PC is closed, but some workflow technologies still do not run efficiently across the two most widely used operating systems in our industry. The problem mainly stems from a traditional workflow setup, where the pre-press department work from an office and the production team on the shop floor, both usually on different operating systems. Production tools are often inaccessible for job prep away from the shop floor, and time is wasted switching between operating systems and various applications to achieve the correct output. Again, it's about questioning the norm. The system compatibility of the chosen software should support the PSP's preferred operating systems and future integration plans, rather than vice versa. Rather than wasting time switching between printer-located RIPs and revisiting job prep time after time, using a single cloud-managed RIP workflow solution should be the first step to minimizing wasted print time, media, and ink, and maximizing profits. In my experience, the most efficient production workflows I have viewed are the ones where the responsibility for file prep, cut file and registration marks creation, and nesting are completely removed from the printer operator, thus allowing them more time to prepare the device accurately for quality output, including daily, weekly, and monthly recommended maintenance schedules, to again ensure production qualities, but also to extend the overall life of the printer and thereby maximizing its ROI. Just-in-time dynamic nesting to specific sheet sizes or roll nesting drops of convenient size to roll length can also massively add to media waste and error reductions. A solution which can support all printers and cutters out of the box and has the ability to streamline and automate the production process from job approval and proofing to final output and finishing can offer maximum flexibility and consistency. Once a single RIP is integrated into your workflow to reduce errors and improve consistency, it's time to streamline the whole workflow by using linking tools to existing MIS ERP systems to create an end-to-end solution. Using inbuilt editing tools for manual file prep and automated product templates can also save valuable time. An integrated low-cost inkjet or PDF-based proofing solution running on the same system as your wide format printer can support greater accuracy and offer confidence that the color and content output will match what has been promised to the print buyer. There's no denying that ICC profiles are the accepted historic standard across the printing industry. However, they come with a number of inherent issues that demonstrate why default isn't always the right solution. ICC is not meeting the needs of today's PSPs, where color must be right first time, every time to maximize profitability. Again, it's all about questioning the norm. Device link profiles, whilst they've been around for a while now, are little understood and are often seen as complex and inaccessible compared to traditional ICC color management. In stark contrast, the technology that lies at the heart of this most advanced color management solution provides users much more control over profile consistency, normalized gamut mapping, black generation ink saving, and gray balance neutrals across each and every printer. No longer do you have to be a color expert to create the most advanced device link profiles to produce accurate color across all the devices and substrates used. Without ironing out bottlenecks and color reproduction inefficiencies by optimizing the workflow, it's impossible for PSPs to reap the full benefits of automation integration. It's difficult to make the leap to full automation where possible without going from back to front in the production workflow. Without a solid foundation of consistent color and quality across all devices, any efficiencies created by an automated workflow are lost through the time spent tweaking color issues on live jobs to satisfy clients' expectations. Once you've stripped out the complexity and touch points from the workflow, it's time to embrace automation. Automating the workflow is vital to maximizing job productivity and profitability, as well as future-proofing your business. Default should no longer mean substandard. It's time for the sector to set a new status quo. So what does this new production standard look like? Color management shouldn't be costing wide format businesses thousands in wasted time, ink and media, and PSP shouldn't be accepting this as typical. A workflow should produce consistent color first time, every time, and prepare print shops for the productivity gains of automation without breaking the bank. This is a basic fact and requirement for maximizing the profit from any existing and future print and finishing equipment used in the production process. While most PSPs are receptive to changing their RIP software, there are still some doubts for those who are unsure. 26% consider the cost of investment to be the biggest barrier. For 32%, disruption to existing production is their greatest blocker. But when put into perspective, the upfront investment in time for implementation, training, and software and hardware costs are, in my experience, hugely dwarfed by the productivity gains and reduction in material waste you can expect by optimizing your workflow and color management using the latest technologies. We've learned that PSPs are relying on RIPs that came with their devices, using multiple solutions in their workflow, all of which are exacerbating issues and rarely taking advantage of the latest software available, which is designed specifically to make their lives easier and their businesses more profitable. Recent ROI calculations show that choosing and implementing the correct RIP workflow solution for your production process can pay for itself within a month. This as a result of ink saving, media and ink wastage reduction, and getting the workflow process of the job approval, pre-press to print, right first time and as quick and as error-free as possible. The latest tech is completely accessible for PSPs, large and small, through the scalability of software as a service, or SaaS, as an alternative delivery model to capital purchase, and with the obvious benefits of ongoing upgrades and support included. PSPs don't have to accept several wasted print cycles, troubleshooting and chasing color, wasting time and materials and resource as the norm. With the latest technologies in place, they can resolve these inefficiencies and double, or in the case of the most inefficient currently, even treble their throughput using the same resource. As we near the end of the session, a little information here on PrintFactory. We've been providing innovative software solutions to the print industry for over 25 years, including the supply of our licensed technologies to some of the industry's best-known names. We currently employ over 30 people, comprising software developers, technical support, sales and customer service. Our global operation has its head office based in Holland and offices across Europe, the United States, China, Singapore and Taiwan. We were very proud to receive the award for SGIA 2018 Product of the Year in the Software Workflow CRM MIS category for PrintFactory Cloud. PrintFactory Cloud delivers on the promise of a simplified workflow process to equip the sector for lights-out automation by easily integrating our powerful production tools to existing MIS, ERP, or even CRM systems. The software provides print shops with an intuitive and future-proof system that ensures businesses are able to run in the most efficient, reliable, and cost-effective way, minimizing error and waste and maximizing the bottom line. If anyone is interested in learning more about PrintFactory Cloud, please contact me directly and I can supply a video presentation. In response to industry research, we've created a two-part color management guide to explore in depth the issues that may be contributing to some of the color management obstacles identified in today's webinar. It also details the core features production managers should be seeking to boost throughput, reduce waste, and prepare for a new age of automated print production. It can be downloaded for free from the PrintFactory website. I would now like to open up the presentation to any questions from the attendees.
Okay, thank you, Simon, for the presentation today.
My pleasure.
And we do have a couple questions available here. Of the things you've talked about today in your presentation, what do you think is the biggest thing that's stalling the progress of PSPs?
The biggest thing, oh dear. As I said in the presentation, you've really got to work from back to front when looking at inefficiencies and maximizing the profit from your existing kit. So I would say that in this day and age, the ability to have all your printers printing a consistent, accurate color, one that you know that you're going to get from every single printer and every single substrate, with the minimum amount of waste or the minimum amount of ink usage, is probably the key to minimizing minimizing the waste and maximizing the profit from those bits of kit. And it needs to be done prior to any automation. Yeah,
so you would say that it's a required baseline before any major steps toward trying to automate the process. It needs to be in place.
Absolutely, and it can be done. I know that historically it's been promised many times, but it is possible to get exactly the same proofing grade color out on all your different devices with all your different ink sets. Obviously, the reflectance of the printed matter and the white point differences of the medium notwithstanding. But once you know and you're confident exactly what you're going to get back from each machine, that obviously reduces the need for the make-ready cycles and from the chasing the color and chasing spot colors and so on and so forth. If you can maximize the efficiency of your existing print kit, that then gives the ability to automate the process and streamline it to reduce errors and then fine-tune things like when you have a full integration, a full automated integration, everything is singing beautifully, then you can really look into your lean production and fine-tune things and see what products are making you the most amount of profit, what are the most time-intensive products, how much profit do they make in relation to the time-intensive workflow of finishing and so on and so forth. So you can maximize your company's profit by maybe streamlining some of your product SKUs.
Okay. I know when companies are doing their printing process, there are numerous opportunities within the process for the bottlenecks, and one of the most common, I think, is really customer files. If input is bad, then output is going to be challenging. So, what can companies do to try to address the bottleneck of customer files?
We've seen with some of our recent large installations, we've seen an uptake on the PSPs delivering our editor program, which essentially is our front end pre-flighting file prep creation tool for large format. A product that would a product that sort of replaces what would normally be done with existing artwork, not new artwork, but existing artwork in products such as Adobe Creative Cloud and so on and so forth. Editor at its core allows for the delivery of print-ready files in very small bite-sized chunks, but basically because you're not editing the existing file, you're creating an XML instruction of what the RIP needs to do with that file. And that can be saved in a specific format, a print-ready file format, which can then be transferred to the PSPs. Consequently, it's very easy for the clients to make the necessary edits to a pre-existing piece of artwork that may have been printed normally, a commercial offset print, or so on and so forth. That needs to be adjusted for a building hoarding, a bus wrap, or whatever.
Sure.
And create that, and also to use automated templates that can be created by the PSPs for those particular products. A bit like InDesign documents, but for a roller banner, for a pop-up, for a shell scheme, for a building hoarding, and so on and so forth. So that those repetitive tasks aren't being done time after time after time, but just for new artwork. So that lends itself to actually delivering print-ready data and data that can instantly be brought into the system, either via drop folders or opening them up into our layout imposition tool, or indeed through our automated workflows, so that can be delivered directly as XML job tickets, and just with a directory path of where the new artwork or print file is ready for more efficient output.
Okay.
And that we've found is streamlining the process of delivery from the clients to the PSPs.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, if there is a lack of guidance from the PSP in terms of what is expected, what is required, no standardization, it leaves it up to the client to try to figure it out themselves. And that seems like a recipe for disaster.
Oh, indeed it is. Indeed it is. Obviously, the automated templates help for product SKUs, but also the pre-flighting tools, which have the ability to pre-flight for image resolution based on final viewing distance, and the same for text height and so on and so forth, and whether spot colors are going to be going through the system, whether there's any open cut contours, intersecting cut contours, all things like that can hold up the pre-press production process, that the client could automatically have prepped ready, so that their product is more likely to be delivered to their SLA and in the most quickly and efficient way possible, maximizing the profit for the PSP.
Okay. We have a question here too about also relating to customers, but in this case, this person says we still have to deal with matching customer supplied proofs. Do you have any advice or strategies to deal with this?
Okay. Ideally, those customer supplied proofs will be run to a recognized international printing standard, such as Gracol or ISO coated V2 from the European Colour Initiative, based on FOGRA's ISO 12647 definitions. But at the end of the day, sometimes that can't be relied on. So the ability to have your own built-in proofing system, whether that be a PDF soft proof system. A lot of our customers purchase an additional PDF out driver, which creates a Photoshop style PDF, which can be output at resolutions from 72 dpi up to 3600 dpi, and from 5 meters, anything up to 5 meters by 50 meters long. Obviously, I wouldn't suggest that they're going to be sizes that you want to email, but certainly that they would be color managed to ISO coated or Gracol, and sent back to the customer. And obviously, on a color correct screen, the client will get a good indication of what they're going to get back from the printed output from the printers. We can also, if there's white point or reflectance differences, they can be simulated with these proofing systems as well. But in the main, if clients are providing Gracol certified proofs or ISO coated certified proofs, or any other worldwide globally recognized print standard, the system can be set up to honor those reference profiles and simulations, and what comes back from your industrial press or from your roll-to-roll printers will exactly match what the client sends as the proof.
Okay. And then in terms of, I know I've talked to some printers in the past who have customers who, let's say, aren't educated about color, and aren't familiar really, particularly with let's say digital printing, the limited capabilities to hit a broad color gamut. And I know customer education becomes a strong factor, getting the customers to understand that. And it seems like no matter how much technology you have, there still needs to be a conversation that needs to take place. And what do you recommend to companies who are dealing, let's say, with a client that has a brand color that is outside the gamut?
The first thing to define is it outside the gamut. Okay, so one of the benefits of device linked color technologies and how we employ is that we will maximize the gamut achievable with your particular chosen device. How does that differ from traditional color management? Well, we don't have to clip inks the primaries in the linearization step to try to get a normalized and neutral gray balance based on the mix of cyan, magenta, yellow. So we don't have to do that with device stick color management. So we can maximize the chroma and hue hooks for the primaries to maximize the gamut that we can achieve with that printer, not limiting it at all. Which means that when we have our normalized color management workflow, i.e., we don't transfer color separations, or we don't convert colors in different color spaces. So in a traditional ICC workflow, RGB, CMYK, lab, grayscale data might be handled differently with different rendering intents and different solutions to the gamut mapping problem. Mm-hmm. So we don't have that. So essentially, we have that. We have that ability, but we recognise that consistency is much more of a valuable product than having, different color output on different devices because of different RIP settings and so on and so forth. So we normalise everything to a specific print standard. That's generally from most output how it goes. There are some exceptions to that, and obviously the textile where you're looking at maximum gamut reproduction and vibrant colors and so on and so forth, and not necessarily matching to a proofing standard. Mm-hmm. But in general, that's how we manage. So we can normalize that color space. We can guarantee the same proofing grade color across all your devices and all your substrates, no matter what ink is used, whether it's a UV ink, an LED ink, a solvent ink, a latex ink, a water-based ink, whatever. On whatever substrate. That's one of our USPs. Mm-hmm. In terms of spot color, obviously, because we've maximized the gamuts of each of the profiles that we built for each of the substrates, and it's extremely easy, by the way, very, very easy, wizard driven. You don't need to be a color expert. Mm-hmm. That lets us explore that gamut much more accurately than normal traditional ICC workflows. We actually use the pure component gamut of the printer to generate our spot colors or our Pantone or our color databases, which are open, and we deliver pretty much the biggest library of colored vinyl ranges and RAL colors and Pantone colors and so on and so forth than any other RIP that I've ever seen. But those spot colors and those lab values go out to the pure output of the device, so that if the closest achievable color to Coca-Cola Red, for example, is 100% magenta and 100% yellow of your ungamut clipped printer, that is exactly what you'll get. You won't get any other scum dot or degradation of other color that you would normally associate with ICC profile spot color mapping. And we've also got a very, very easy to use pick a winner spot color tuning tool. So if your Pantone guide has been sitting out in the sun for 2 years, mm-hmm. and is not particularly reliable, you can take a customer's print sample or a customer's preferred Pantone or spot color book and measure that in very quickly and easily get a match, as long as the color is achievable within the new gamut of your printer. And we amaze customers day in, day out with the fact that we can get so much more color reproduction out of their existing kit than they've been seen before.
That's interesting to hear. We have one more question before we wrap it up, and it's an easy one. If somebody wants to reach out to you and contact you, what's the best way to do that?
If somebody wants to reach out to me and contact me, please just email me at simon@printfactory.cloud. That's simon@printfactory.cloud.
All right. Yes, go ahead.
I would like to finish off by thanking everybody for joining this session, and a special thanks to you, Dan, for your moderating, and of course the SGIA for hosting. I would like to encourage all to visit the website and or email me. And if you have any questions about today's webinar, or indeed PrintFactory in general, please don't hesitate to get in contact.
Very good. Well, before we wrap it up, I did want to urge everybody who's with us today to mark your calendar to go to Printing United. That is October 23rd through 25th in Dallas, Texas. It is going to be a massive event, the biggest print-focused trade show in North America, and it is gearing up to be a fantastic event. And we are delighted to have PrintFactory designated by the red circle here on our floor map, and we're delighted to have their involvement in this unique event. And please, as I said, mark your calendar. We look forward to seeing you there. And also stop by sgia.org to check out our new listing of webinars. We've been adding more and more programs in the last couple of weeks, so there's plenty to look at, plenty to see, and plenty to learn. And all of these programs are free, and they're here to help you make the best decisions for your business. So with that, thank you for joining us, and we will see you online again soon. Bye-bye.